welcome aboard, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Welcome everybody to the new episode. I know it's been a little while here, but we're getting back on the horse. So this is the 20th episode. Excited about that. That's, a little baby milestone, I guess.
Milestone's a milestone.
Something. Milestone's a milestone. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. So today we're going to talk about Heretic.
Yes, sir.
And Smile 2. So Dan, you want to take a moment and introduce yourself to anybody that hasn't seen an episode with you in it yet?
Right, of course. So my name is Dan. I am one of Pat's long-term friends. I live a little bit farther away from him now, but hopefully we can still keep getting together and do stuff. So yeah, that's me. I enjoy movies. I like a lot of pop culture garbage, and that's what I'm here for, I think. I picked the right time to stop talking while you were sipping your drink too, which is very impressive. Very impressive talent.
Yeah. So how's everything been? I haven't. I know we got like the group chat going and everything, but I haven't talked to you like not in text form in a little while.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it was good. I spent October at my parents' house sitting with their cats. Back here to my abode. And just kind of settling back into the daily groove,
Yeah.
How are things with you? The whole big old move and everything all set up and stuff?
Yeah, it's been hectic. It is. So for anybody that doesn't know, my wife and I packed up and moved to a different state. So, yeah, Dan, it's been a lot.
I imagine.
I've had to take a lot of trips back and forth.
Terrible.
Between here and there, wrapping up everything at the old house.
That's a long trip, too.
It is. On Halloween, so I'll say I failed miserably at watching 31 movies in October.
Yeah.
And I tried hard too, but like between all the trips and everything, like it just wasn't happening. And on Halloween night, I actually had to drive back to Rochester because we needed to pick up Sarah's car because she hit a deer.
Oh, Jesus.
A few weeks on the trip from Virginia to New York. And so on Halloween, I drove 3 hours from Virginia Beach to Manassas, and then I stayed there from like midnight to like 6, and then at 6 I woke up and drove the rest of the way.
Oh, Jesus.
To Rochester, and then I packed for like 5 hours at the house, and then I did the same thing again that same day.
That doesn't sound fun.
It was awful. It was really, really awful. And then the next day I was just like
dead to the world, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's been like one of those things where like, packing, any free time I have has been like unpacking. Yeah. And like before the move, it was any free time I had. I was packing. Yes. And then all the weekends are moving or traveling or just doing whatever. And so for a little period of time there, for like literally like 2 or 3 months, it was only I didn't get nights and I didn't get weekends to myself like at all.
That sounds terrible.
And so yeah, it was tough, but things are starting to even out, and I'm getting a little bit more relaxed.
Oh, good.
And I started the new job, and I've been sort of, getting more balanced with that as well. So everything is
getting there,
settling.
Yeah. Sorry, I just hit turn my phone off real quick.
But the weather here is beautiful. I'm 13 minutes from the ocean. And I am, I can see the blue sky every day, which is nice.
Because I don't know if you know this, but up here, I haven't seen the sun for like 3 days.
Yeah, and that honestly, like that was the thing. Is like last winter, I was like, I can't do another winter.
No, I completely understand. Like it's been bad the last few days. It's just been rainy and overcast, and it gets dark at like 3:30 in the afternoon now. Daylight savings is stupid.
Yeah, that seems. It's daylight saving is awful. But yeah, in the midst of all that, like I got all new equipment for the podcast too. So, the headphones are the same, but basically everything is new. The microphone, the mic stand, the audio interface, The camera's the same.
Nice.
But before this, I was literally digging around everywhere because I couldn't find my webcam. I was like, oh my God, like, am I, like, I could have ran the one right off the monitor,
Right.
but like, it wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah. I realized the last time I did a podcast, I didn't have the camera you gave me selected. So I was using like the yeah, classic me. I was using like the actual like installed one instead of the one you gave me. So this is a little better. I can tell the difference already.
I love the fact that I can see your The Thing board game up over
Oh
your
yeah,
shoulder here.
you know it.
Yeah.
Fury of Dracula right
It's
next
a
to
fun
it.
game.
I like that game a lot. I told you I played it with Josh and
I see you got a Halloween game there too.
yeah, I haven't played that yet. That's a hidden movement game. One person plays as Michael Myers and stalks everyone else around the board. Right?
We'll have to play that. You should bring that to Philly when we meet up in a few
I could do that, absolutely. It's supposed to be kind of like, because like up there next to the Thing, you see Fury of Dracula. Mm-hmm. That's another hidden movement game, but that's a little more rulesy. This one's supposed to be simple, so I know when we play games, we tend to take the estimated time a bit longer, so maybe easier.
We do. Yeah, that sounds fun. Sure. We'll have to try that.
I'll bring it, yeah. Just remind me because I forget everything.
Sounds good. I'll do my best. I also forget everything.
All right, so you didn't make it through all 31 days, but I saw you making an attempt at it. You got a bunch of movies watched.
I got 21.
That's good.
And I thought that was a pretty valiant effort. There was days where I watched like 3 movies because I was like, oh, I got like part of a day to myself here. Let me just binge watch like nonstop movies, and I'd watch like 3. When I went to Philly, I was like, I watched a bunch of movies while I was there too.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, I was able to keep up with it. I only had to use one of my days where I had an extra movie saved up to use, which luckily it just had the one day I had to use an extra movie, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, always fun. Tom Halstead did it this year. Did you see that?
I did see that. I did.
Proud of him.
Yeah, that's he had some good ones in there.
He stole my gumball machine idea, but that's okay. I'll allow it.
It's a good idea, and you know, eventually here I'm gonna probably start a store to sell T-shirts and stuff out of that. Maybe we can coin one of those. You know, design one, have different movies in it. You know, send out new updates like, here, take these 5 new gumballs for 2024.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea. And then you could like have like a poll or something. People can vote on what goes into it. Yeah, that's an idea. Look at us thinking.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So as long as we're on the, before we get into Heretic and Smile, as long as we're on the topic of Halloween, because we didn't get to do a Halloween special. Right. I wanted to, but like that week just got away from me.
You moved. Like, people got to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about what you watched during Halloween, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but what are some of the highlights? What are the things you didn't like? Highlights, lowlights,
of course.
Those
yeah,
things.
Awesome. So pulled it off. Watched the 31 movies, as I said. On the 31st, I actually
show off.
Yeah, on the 31st, I always watch Shaun of the Dead. Well, not always, but for the last many years, at least decade, I've watched Shaun of the Dead and the original Halloween in reverse orders, whichever one I want to watch first. And that's kind of my Halloween movies, But so 30 movies watched. 13 of them were new to me movies I hadn't seen before. So that was fun to watch. Ran into a lot of anthology movies. I had 4 different anthology movies. VHS, Cat's Eye, Creepshow, what was that one? Campfire Tales. So most of those were new to me watch too. So those were.
What were they again? You said Creepshow, yep. Campfire Tales.
Yep. Cat's Eye and VHS.
Cat's Eye, Stephen King.
Yeah, Cat's Eye was weird and enjoyable, but also I don't know how much people I can recommend that to. It was very PG-13, which is good. Like, if you have young kids, you want to watch something, like, that would be a good one to watch, but it's also weird. It's also very, 80 Stephen King, so if you get into that, then you know what you're getting into. Highlights for me, I marked out a couple things here. It was really good to watch The Sixth Sense again. I hadn't seen that in many years, and that movie's very good.
Toni Collette.
Mm-hmm. My favorite movie that she's been in that's horror-related. The Final Girls. Have you ever seen The Final Girls?
I have not. That has been on my list for a long time too, and everybody keeps saying that it's really good.
I was surprised how much I liked it. It was a horror comedy. Obviously, they do a spoof on slashers, and it's also like a time paradox movie, which has been a lot of lately. And it was really enjoyable. I liked that one a lot. What else did I have here? Sleepy Hollow. I highlighted because the music is so good in that movie. And
I watched Sleepy Hollow too.
yeah, it's so good. What else? What else? Ghost Ship. I watched. I don't understand why people don't like Ghost Ship still.
I absolutely love Ghost
Yeah.
Ship, and it's actually one of my favorite movies. And I watched it, I don't know, a year or two ago to like kind of refresh it, and I loved it still.
Yeah.
It's just as good as it ever was.
Yeah, I don't like. I see. Look at it on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got like 13% by the critics and like really low by people. Like it's a good movie. I like it. I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but it's an enjoyable movie.
It's very 2000s, you know. It's got that mid 2000s feel to it. You got the mud vein coming in at the end.
Oh yeah.
Like it's got a lot of things that are very of its time, but I don't think any of those are strikes against it. I mean, yeah, CGI ghosts and everything, but I think most of them are done pretty well. Yeah. They have a lot of like quick cuts, you know, like when the girl like pushes the dude down the elevator shaft and then a quick cut to her face. It's they have a lot of stuff like that, which is it's very 2000s, you know, like that was the style back then, you know, like remember like the Tony Scott movies like Domino where those weird like quick cuts and everything. Like there's a lot of that going on in that during that time, but you know, it is what it is. It's a quality movie. Yeah. And it's one of the only of its kinds too. Those like out to sea ghost stories, you know, there's not many of those.
And not trying to spoil anything, but like the whole like monster, because it's a monster in the end that's causing the situation, right? And like that yeah, kind of, sort of, but I'm gonna call him a monster. I really like that idea. Like he's a ferryman.
I'll call him a demon.
Demon, yeah, there we go. Demon, monster. You're right, demon. But like he's collecting souls to ferry down to well, you know where he's ferrying them to. And I just really like that idea for a bad guy. You know, it's a cool idea.
It's a very cool idea, and it's so sequel worthy. Yeah. Like they could make a sequel off that. They could use the same dude. Like he's aged pretty well. He
has. Desmond Harrington. Don't know why I know that, but I do.
Yeah, I knew it too. He's in Dexter. He's in Wrong Turn.
Yep. Yeah, good horror dude. So also highlighted on my list, I had Host. Is something I wanted to shout out to. Have you heard of that movie?
I've seen Host. It's a quality movie.
The
Oh no, you're talking Host, the computer one, not the Host.
The South Korean, maybe South Korean.
Yeah, the actual underwater monster.
Yeah. That movie I like too, but no, Host from 2020 is like a webcam seance movie. That. I didn't think anything of it. I put it in the Gumball machine years back because when it happened, like the pandemic times, you know, threw it in there then and just forgot about it and watched it, and I enjoyed it. I was very surprised by it.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, those were the ones I had to highlight. I had Barbarian highlight, but I don't need to sell Barbarian to you because you've already seen that.
And I don't think you need to sell Barbarian to anybody. Everybody seems to like that one. That was a big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
But yeah, so that's what I got highlighted. VHS I highlighted saying that I want to watch the Siren spin-off movie because I haven't done that yet. But that's from you've seen VHS.
I haven't either.
But the Amateur Night.
I have, and I watched the new VHS as part of my Halloween.
And
it was very good, actually.
I've heard it's
good. What's her name? Mike Flanagan's wife.
Katie Segal?
She did. Yeah, I think that's it. She directs a portion of it that he wrote. And I'm just going to say it might be one of my favorite anthology, like horror science fiction shorts
really
ever made.
Okay.
Yeah. It is so extremely well done. And it's such an interesting idea, what they do. And, like, yeah, I liked this one much more than I liked the last one. And her spot, I was like, all right, yeah, you got it.
Okay. Well,
So I really loved that. But there was a handful of things that were in that, and Honestly, I don't remember any of the other ones offhand, but I remember hers was really, really good.
It's kind of like the second one, where the second one has that one safe haven section that's just so much better than the rest that's on there. It kind of just sticks in your head more than the rest. Even though the rest are good, that's the one you remember.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I got my phone pulled up right here, and I do remember these now. So I did like a review on it on my Instagram, like I do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a segment in there that is. It's funny that I wrote that. I was like, this is as close as we're ever going to get as an adaptation of the first person arcade shooter Area 51. Or like, like House of the Dead, like that type of thing.
It's like the Doom movie with The Rock.
Yeah, except
good.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I'm like not, as I think of it, I'm like, is it better? Probably not. But like you're getting a smaller dose of it, so okay. It's like that's a concept you can run with for 20 minutes very well. But when you stretch it into an hour and a half and don't give it any story, you're like, yeah. So like it's not like it has any story to it. Like they're not trying to establish. There's no character. You can't character build during this time, really, right? So there's no character build and there's no story. There's nothing like that. It's like literally just 20 minutes of like these 4 cops going into this house and just shooting people, first person style.
That sounds fun.
It's very fun, and so there were 4, and now that I'm looking at these, they were fun. Yeah, I would recommend you watch the new
I need to get caught up to it. I've made it through the first 2 VHSs. I know Viral's bad, and it's kind of stopped me from going through the rest of them. But I want to watch them in order, so I just got to do it. Just got to pull the trigger and get through them.
I watched the one that came out last year, and I remember liking that a lot. So Scott Derrickson, I like Scott Derrickson a lot. Scott Derrickson, right? He did a segment. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. The guy that directed the new Hellraiser, and he did The Night House and a few other movies. Very good director. He did a segment. He did like the segment that connects all of them. Oh, that's cool.
The wraparound?
Yeah, and that's his segment's very good. Yeah, there's the one from last year was very good. They weren't all like bangers. Great, but like I don't think there was any that were bad. Okay. But some definitely hit harder than others. Well, but like, yeah, I'd definitely recommend that one. But I really liked the one from this year. So
I need to watch them. Just get through them.
Yeah, VHS Beyond. This one was called. But what else? Anything else you wanted to cover for that?
No, just a couple. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I did put down here hilariously the first Final Destination movie. I put down FBI guys. I wanted to talk about those. Do you remember those guys in that movie?
No.
I didn't either. Like
I haven't seen that movie in so long. Rest in peace, Tony Todd.
Yeah, I know. Rest in peace. There's like this whole like sub story with these FBI guys that are following around Alex, trying to like tie him to the deaths and such. And I
kind of recall that being.
I completely forgot about it. Like every time they were on screen, I'm like my brain just cut it out completely. So I just wanted to be like, I don't remember any of that from that movie, but
right, like every time they come on screen, it does like the Grindhouse like real missing thing,
pretty much
in your brain.
I don't remember this at all, but they were in there.
Yeah, they don't even try to do anything like that in the rest of them. Like they're just like, I don't know, everybody just dies in these ridiculous ways. It's just
they're trying to figure out why. That's it. But yeah, that's kind of what I knocked down. As far as like bad movies go, I don't really think there was something I dislike. Oh yeah, there was. I did put down here. Bait. Have you heard of Bait?
I do. I have heard of it. I've not seen it.
It's a Australian horror movie with like a tsunami comes and
sharks, right?
Comes and floods a supermarket, and sharks get into the supermarket, and mayhem ensues. And that sounds like a great time, right?
Yeah, but sharks are easy to really screw up.
Yeah, the CGI.
You watch people screw up shark movies all the time.
The CGI was real bad. The acting was meh. It's got the guy who played Dr. Doom in like the old Fantastic Four movies. It had the girl who was the final girl in You're Next was in it. So there's like decent actors in there, but the movie was just bad. I didn't like it.
Decent, but not Oscar winners.
Other than that, Soul Station, the animated prequel to Train to Busan, I did not enjoy that either. It was a bit much for me. Like it was just so bleak. There was nothing good in it. Like, and usually I can deal with that kind of stuff, but for some reason that movie I just lost interest like halfway through and just kind of like forced
Yeah.
myself to finish it. But
You
yeah,
know, I don't know. Do you watch animated movies a lot?
decent amount.
No, I don't really. And a lot of time, I don't know. There's some animated might not necessarily be my thing in general. You
Yeah,
know?
it's okay. A lot of people are like that. Some people like just associate it with no, childhood kind of. You know what I mean? Like it's not for adults
Yeah.
to watch animated movies. Not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
I like it. I'll say I don't want anybody to get me the wrong way. I do like animated stuff. I just like it's not necessarily, especially when it comes to horror, my first
Yeah,
choice.
no, yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, man, I think that's kind of quick fire touching everything I wanted to touch on. Yeah, Tremors, I watched that. That's great. I'm excited to see what they do with that.
I love
Yeah,
Tremor so much. I want to watch that. It's been a long
that's
time.
really good. It holds up. It's the monster design's great. The characters are fun. The whole thing's just a good time. So yeah, that's what I got.
Nice. So what did I watch? So I watched the first thing I kicked off the month with was
Hmm.
Carrie,
I watched that too.
Stephen King, Jean
Jean
Carpenter.
from France.
Oh, yeah.
Jean Carpenter.
uh, yeah, he that was great. There was so much about that movie that I didn't
Oh
remember,
yeah, same.
and it was. I mean, if you haven't watched that recently, I highly recommend it. I think it's aged pretty
I
well.
watched that on the 28th of October. It was one of
Nice.
my movies. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I've ever saw that movie uncut. I think every time I saw it growing up was on TV.
I think for me
Hmm.
too, and like I honestly like I didn't remember the plot whatsoever. Like I didn't remember his friend being a thing and like owning the car. I literally only remembered the guy and his varsity jacket and the car
Oh,
and the car killing
I
people.
saw it.
And that's basically all I
I'm sorry.
remembered.
I thought you said Carrie. You're talking about Christine.
Oh, I did say
Okay,
Carrie.
well, that makes
Yeah,
sense now. So yeah, I watched Carrie.
I said I meant Christine.
Christine. Yeah, I haven't seen Christine in a long time.
Yeah, I recommend that one. I haven't seen Carrie in a very, very long time. But yeah, Christine, I watched The Exorcist 3,
Oh,
Heretic.
yep.
Heretic?
I just bought that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It has one of like the best jump scares
Legion.
in
It might
its.
be. It might be Legion. Heretic.
I don't know, let me look. I got it pulled up right here. I didn't write it. No, the second one is
Okay.
Heretic.
All right.
The third is Legion. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, I watched that. That was good. Liked it. I had never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had recently watched the first one. I don't even know if that was in October, but I watched it. It might have been September that I watched that, and I was like, "Oh, I should catch up on this one." I watched Ginger Snaps. I had never seen that actually.
I haven't either. It's on my list to watch. Yeah,
Really,
I know. It's a werewolf movie. It's right up my alley. I just haven't caught it yet.
it is very good. It has like a whole vibe to it that I didn't expect. Like the two girls that are in it are super emo. Like super like early 2000s emo like emo
The Craft.
like when I was in uh sort
Okay.
of. I haven't seen The Craft in a long time. But like it is I really liked it and I was like, "Oh man, I wish I had watched this like when it was like during that
Yeah.
era, you know?" I thought that would have been really cool. I watched Malignant. I've seen that so many times. I love it. I watched Daddy's Head
Oh
on
yeah, that was that
Shudder.
one.
That one was, man, it was really good. It just like was just super dread filled the whole time. It had just like it's just constantly just punching you with emotion the whole movie, and the whole where they end up going with everything was really cool, and it was definitely an interesting
Hmm.
story, and I really liked it. So I'd recommend that one.
Okay.
I watched The Crazies. I
Oh,
watched Below. Have you seen Below?
Below. Not ringing a bell. What is it?
It's a submarine movie.
No, I haven't seen that one.
A ghost on a submarine, a haunted submarine in like World War II or something.
Oh, I'm in. That sounds fun.
Bruce Greenwood is in it. He's like the submarine captain. That guy that is in, he's in like everything. He was in Mindhunter as like the older detective. He was in Wrath of Man as the guy that like trains Jason Statham. He was in Lights Out, the boxing show on FX from way back.
No, I got none of those are reference points I can catch.
Well, I tried.
You did. I appreciate
it. I watched Maxine. I really liked that.
I still haven't caught any of those yet.
They're good. Not everybody likes them. This was very different than X. Really? So I think you could go in and not like X and like this one, or vice versa. I know plenty of people that liked X and didn't like Pearl, or vice versa. So I think that they all have sort of their own vibe. So I'd recommend this one. It's on Max, and it's got a killer cast.
I should catch it.
No pun intended.
I've been meaning to. I see what you did there. Nicely done.
I watched Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. I didn't love it, to be honest. There was one that I really liked with like a gargoyle, but like most of them didn't do much for me.
Okay. Is that the one that
Dr. Sleep?
I'm sorry, the Tales from Dark Side. Is that the one that has like the plane in like World War II and there's like gremlins attacking it? If I'm off, I'm off. Okay, so. I'm off. Right, go ahead. Dr. Sleep. Up again. I stopped talking when you're taking a sip. Good at it.
Yep. Dr. Sleep, Sleepy Hollow, Scream. I'd seen all those already.
Heavy hitters.
So just checking the boxes. Well, it was the new Scream.
Oh, okay. Not as heavy a hitter, but it's fine.
Not as heavy a hitter. I finally watched Lifeforce. Have you seen Lifeforce?
That sounds very familiar. Which one's that?
It was made in the 80s, and it's about like these astronauts that find this spacecraft, and next thing you know, everybody on the spacecraft they're just, NASA is going up and finding just everybody on the spacecraft dead. But they find these 3 alien bodies that they picked up in it, and I think they bring them back to Earth, and they're like, we don't know what happened. I kind of feel like this, like I've heard a lot about this movie before I saw it, but I think one of the most notable factors of it is that the alien is a woman who walks around naked for the first like 35 minutes of this movie.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think I guess,
and so that was very notable of it. But other than that, like this thing delves into like a zombie vampire type movie from there, because they look like zombies, but they act like vampires in that they're trying to suck the life force out of everybody.
Oh, that's the movie title.
And they need to do it or they die.
Okay.
And it spreads like an apocalypse.
Oh, that's cool.
And so everything just goes completely out of control pretty quickly. And yeah, I really liked that. I'd watch it again.
So when you said that movie, I thought my brain went to that. I thought maybe I had seen it, but then as you described it, I realized I was thinking of the movie Life with Ryan Reynolds, which is similar but different. So yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. I should catch it. It sounds like my kind of jam.
Definitely check it out. You're like, yeah, naked woman, yeah, my jam.
Yeah, guilty.
I watched this movie called Night Beast. That was a complete piece of trash. It was from like the 70s. It was like a trauma movie, if you know those. They're like notoriously low budget movies. It was literally like, I would not recommend this movie to anybody.
How'd it get on your radar?
It was like, what?
How'd it get on your radar? Yeah, sorry.
Vin and I watched it while we were in Philly, and like we just watched it at the end of the night. We were flipping through the things, and it had like it was the cover. Like we were just like, oh, look at this, that looks like something. And then we watched it, and honestly, I don't even think we finished it. We tried two different sittings, and we didn't finish in either one. So we were like, all right, well, that's it.
And so was it after like 45 minutes of trying to find a movie, you guys finally selected that one, like we usually do?
Yeah, like we do. I always think of all the movies I'm going to try and get everybody to watch until I get there.
Just leave your brain.
Let's just see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all gone. We watched Clown, where it's made by the guy that directed the recent Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh, nice.
So I went into it like, oh, maybe this isn't terrible. It's basically a guy puts on a clown outfit and then starts turning into an evil clown. Like, he can't take the clown outfit off, and it's turning him into like what turns out to be a child-eating demon. So he's turning into this thing.
So kind of like,
and he eats some kids.
Oh, they actually go there. They eat kids.
He eats a couple kids, and so they go all the way on it. And yeah, it's something. I actually like if that ever seems like a type of thing. Like, they play it straight, but like sometimes it's like goofy, and you're like, okay, like you're this whole idea is pretty silly. But like they play it straight, and like it's better than I thought it would be. I guess would be the best way to put it. But like, you just have to keep in mind you're gonna see some kids get eaten.
Some kid eating stuff. Yeah, it almost sounded like you were talking about the old Goosebumps book, The Haunted Mask, kind of.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's the same idea.
A little different, but same idea.
Yeah. I watched The Demon Disorder, which is another one of these demon possession movies. The spin on this one is that it's like a disease that manifests itself physically. Mm-hmm. So a lot of gross out horror in it. A lot of that going on. It was good. It wasn't great. But I really appreciate the practical effects in it, so that stretched a long way.
I am a big fan of practical effects myself, so.
Yeah. And then I watched Late Night at the Devil, or Late Night with the Devil. We never talked about this one. What did you think of that?
Oh, movie? I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah?
Your reaction?
So, I really want to like it, and I've watched it twice now, and I do like it. And David Dastmalchian is awesome in it, and there's a ton to like about it, and it's got a great style. I think the only thing that like really bugs me about it is like, if you've seen the movie Ghostwatch.
Oh, you brought this up to me before.
It is the same movie.
See, I don't have that. I don't have that in my brain, so definitely it would affect.
And it just feels so much like they just copied the entire movie.
See, now, to change something a little bit, but I feel like that's why I didn't like the last Joker movie, the first Joker movies, because I thought it was just King of Comedy and Taxi Driver just copied. So I think that's probably...
Yeah, and I haven't seen King of Comedy, but I definitely saw the Taxi Driver references.
So I get that. If you think you've already seen it in the movie, it's not going to have the same impact on you.
Yeah, and so like the whole thing where they have like the skeptic and then the person that's like devoted to the idea. Like in this, it was the woman, and then they bring in the guy that's like trying to disprove her the whole time. Ghostwatch even has those characters. Really? Yeah. So it's like there's so many things that I'm just like, oh my god, you owe somebody some money.
Sorry.
They do have completely different vibes to them. So like I do appreciate that. I would be, if I'm in the mood for this idea, I have the like, okay, but which vibe am I into right now? You know, so I've watched both of them twice now. And but I had watched Ghostwatch first, and so I guess my thing would be, if you really like Late Night with the Devil, watch Ghostwatch, because you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's also done in a completely different way, you know. Like it's interesting because what is interesting about Ghostwatch is it's shot as a news program with real news people from the time. So if anybody that wasn't paying attention, that tuned into like this slot during October of that year in like the late 90s or whatever, could have thought this was, and apparently people did think this was a real thing, that they were going to this house and that was supposedly haunted, and that all these newscasters, so like when there's a person going into the house, it is a real newscaster.
That's cool.
And so they have actors in there, but like the newscasters were running the program, and then all these haunted things start happening. And it's done in a really interesting way, in that it's almost like, it's kind of like found footage, kind of, in a way. And it, Like I mean, it could be considered like the first found footage. Like it was even. I think it was even before Blair Witch Project. But I might be completely off about the years on that. But I highly recommend it. So
Okay,
check that
I'll
out.
have to. I just wrote it down for worst case scenario, go in the gumball machine next year.
There you go. And then I watched The Ring, the new one, and I watched Night of the Creeps, and that's where I fell off.
I like Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps was great, and The Ring was great, as usual. I hadn't watched that since I don't know. It was The Ring was so huge, and everybody watched it. Everybody was talking about it, so I watched it a ton of times back then, and I hadn't watched it in a while, and I think that aged extremely well.
Actually, I just had to double check my list. I watched it as part of mine this year too. It was on the 9th of October. For some reason, my brain just skipped over it, but that happens.
Super good. Yeah. But yeah, that was it. The only one that I didn't really like in the midst of all that was Night Beast. But that might be somebody's thing if somebody's into super low budget things that they can just make fun of. And I guess on Tales of the Dark Side on the same token, kind of.
Right. Still, so not bad. 19 good movies out of that then.
19 good movies. 2 Night Beast is very bad.
I almost want to watch it now.
I could probably watch Tales of the Dark Side again, or Tales from the Dark Side again, but I don't think I'll ever watch Night Beast again.
Until you're in Philadelphia in December.
Yeah, right. And then Ben's like, we got to finish it.
Yep. Might as well start over because Dan's...
We might have finished it, and I just don't remember.
Might as well start over because Dan's here now.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get into the reviews. Yep. So let's start with Heretic, because I think it's going to be a little bit of a short one because you haven't seen it. You failed.
I did. Saturday came and went real quick.
For anybody that doesn't know what this movie is about, it is about 2 girls that are like door-to-door Mormons, I guess, for lack of a better word. They're going door-to-door pitching people that have expressed some level of interest on the religion of Mormonism. And they go to a house and they meet Hugh Grant, who invites them in, and then you quickly realize not everything is what it seems, and there's a lot of religious undertones, and they talk a lot about religion, and without spoiling anything else, that's kind of the gist of it, but you realize that something is not what it seems, and that Hugh Grant's character is deceiving them in some way, and then everything kind of unfolds from there. So, baseline, I like this movie. There are there are decisions made in it that you're like, because I mean it's all about the movie in and of itself is like a big theme with it is like, I mean, you see in the trailer they've got the doors labeled as like belief and disbelief, right, I want to say. I think so, yep. And that's a big theme of the movie is do you believe Hugh Grant or do you not believe him? Do they believe in their religion or do they not believe in it? Do you believe, like, it's almost like the filmmakers are playing with the audience too, of like, do you believe that that all of this is real and it's going to go this way, or do you believe that it's this and it's going to go this way? And so on a I think how much somebody enjoys this may depend on whether they're okay with which direction this movie goes in, because I mean, you're going into it and like you can see from the trailers and everything that like, okay, this might go this way and be, go balls to the wall, religious horror with, all these crazy things happening, or it might go this way with it being a little bit more straightforward. And if you're okay, no matter which direction it goes in on this, I think you'll end up fine in the end. But like a lot of people have complained about probably the last half hour of the movie, because that's when you figure out what is going on.
Right. Right.
And so I think on rewatch, I think I need to rewatch it. Okay. But I think that on rewatch, it'll be like you'll be unraveling these things a little bit more as you go through.
And Hugh Grant's apparently really good in it, right?
Hugh Grant is great in it. The entire movie basically rests on his shoulders. He puts in an extremely well done performance. A lot of people have said, like, they're like, oh, he could probably win an Oscar for this. I've heard that a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because like in a year that's been full of like failures at the box office, horror's been killing.
It has been. There's still failures, but some failures at the box office. But it's been a good year for horror overall. Right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
me too. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, so people are talking about. So this movie did pretty well. People are talking about Hugh Grant and him getting awards recognition for his performance here. You talked about Naomi Scott getting awards recognition for Smile 2.
I think she definitely should.
And there's been talk in a bunch of other movies as well. And so I think that like in a year where if there was ever going to be a year, it would be this one. But in all honesty, I don't think there will be anything close to that. But yes, he puts in a very good performance. The two girls that are in it, the first one's Sophie Thatcher. Mm-hmm. So, did you see The Boogeyman on Hulu?
No.
Well, you should, because it's very good. And I told you, I think last year, that you should. So, keep that one on the list and watch it sometime soon. It is on Hulu, and it is based off a Stephen King book, and it is very good. She was very good in that. Okay. She is very good in this. She was also in Yellow Jackets, apparently, where she's also very good. Interestingly, she was also in The Book of Boba Fett, and I recalled seeing her there, and they do absolute jack shit with her character in that. I don't even know if she has lines in it. But I recall seeing her and being like you guys have done nothing for this girl. With this character. Yeah, that's got to be so disappointing, especially like when you're killing it. Like, oh, I just got a Hulu movie, and I think The Boogeyman went to theaters. It was supposed to go straight to Hulu, but they gave it like a release in theaters. So she led a movie in theaters last year. She's one of the co-leads in this one, and then having that big show, and then she probably was so pumped about getting into Star Wars, and then she's like, "Oh,
I have no lines.
They didn't give me any lines." Okay, great.
But so you don't turn down that role. You're trying to get somewhere.
Well, and that's the thing about Marvel and Star Wars is even if you got nothing now, they might give you a call in a couple of years and be like, "Hey, remember that character that was like supposed to be a big deal that wasn't?"
Yeah, it will be.
You want to make it a big deal now?
Exactly.
The other girl that's in it, Chloe East, was apparently the sheriff's daughter in The Wolf of Snowy Hollow.
Oh, okay. All right,
so there's one for you.
Yeah, I liked her in that. I like that movie overall. It's made that known. So that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. I saw the trailer. I didn't recognize the girls at all, but I mean, Wolf of Snow Hollow was what 4 or 5 years ago, so she's definitely probably grown up since then.
She certainly has, and she was very good in this. There's another actor that is like this movie. I'm gonna tell you, man, this isn't a spoiler, but I'm gonna tell you that so many things of this movie remind me of Barbarian. So many. It doesn't take a turn like when Justin Long gets introduced in Barbarian.
Yeah.
It doesn't take there's like a weird turn that it takes there where you're almost in like a new movie. Mm-hmm. It doesn't do that. But there is a point where there's somebody introduced in like a cameo as like a supporting character, and you're like, oh my God, is that blank? And sure enough, it was. And you're probably gonna laugh. I think I laughed to myself. I saw this by myself, by the way. Okay. But I think that you're probably going to laugh when you see it and be like, oh yeah, that's what he was talking about.
I definitely plan on watching it. Maybe I'll catch it this weekend. It seemed good from the trailers. I like Hugh Grant, and like the trailer was creepy enough for the whole like he kept talking about a pie thing. Is there a pie that's important to the story?
There is a pie that's important to the story. Okay. Yeah.
So I need to catch it.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I don't think it quite hit as hard as I thought it would. Like, I wouldn't give it like a 9 or a 10. I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
Something wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think as long as you're going in with proper expectations on it, but Hugh Grant, yeah, he really makes this movie. And what a late career sort of just couple years he's been having, right?
Yeah.
He did the Dungeons and Dragons
Oh yeah, I liked him
movie.
in
He
that.
was
That's
in
right. I forgot about that. That movie just
he's
yeah, the Wizard or whatever or something.
he was the villain.
Villain, yeah.
I don't remember what he is, but
He's good
yeah,
in that.
he was in The Gentleman. You see The
I
Gentleman?
have not seen The Gentleman.
If you like Guy Ritchie
I do.
movies, I really like The Gentleman. I like it more than many of his movies,
Huh.
actually. It's so Hugh Grant is in it. He's very good in it. Matthew McConaughey is in it. Colin Farrell is in it. Pretty killer cast, you know, and it's like gangsters and drug dealers and stuff.
Yeah, my parents gave me a copy of it digitally, and I just haven't watched it yet. I need to.
You should. It's very good. I liked it. And then he was in Paddington 2 as well. So he's had a pretty wild, like,
resurgence.
I don't know, like what, 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
here.
Good for him.
With just interesting roles, you know, than he had in the end.
Yeah, just all romantic comedies when I was growing up. So
Yeah. Mickey Blue Eyes.
Notting Hill.
Oh my god.
About a Boy.
But yeah, that's
him.
that is him. Yeah. There was that one where he's dancing, like music and something.
Lyrics?
Music and lyrics.
That sounds right.
Is that it?
That sounds right. I'm not sure.
Songs and lyrics. Yeah. No, music and lyrics. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, he was great in this.
Okay.
So, you know, I think it's worth watching to see his performance, and both of the girls are really good as well. So their dynamic between the three of them holds a good portion of this movie.
Right. Okay.
Because I mean, you spend a good like half hour with them, just like in his living room with talking, you know. So, but anyways, yeah, well-made movie. So let's talk Smile 2.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to do so. So, you watched it most recently. Did it make an impact for you?
Yeah, so I'll just come right out with it and say that I'll say two things about this movie. I'll say the first one is that I liked it more than Heretic.
Yep.
I watched Heretic on Friday, and I watched Smile 2 on Monday, and I enjoyed my time watching Smile 2 much more.
Yeah. It's a good one.
So that was a nice where I thought that like Heretic 2 might have been slightly disappointing. This one hit exactly how I thought it was going to.
I completely agree with that.
Like, yeah, and I think the other thing would be that I think this is actually better than the first one.
I can understand that. I was a huge fan of the first one, and I went into this with high expectations, and it hit that. So that's where I'm coming at. Is like I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's like we mentioned it a little bit earlier ago, like how good Naomi Scott is in it. I told you, like we had conversations, and I was worried about her casting. I'm like, I've seen her in the Power Rangers movie and the Aladdin movie, and she doesn't really do much. She doesn't bring anything to the table, and I was wrong. I was completely wrong. She killed it in this movie. The whole movie, like you said, like Heretic relied on Hugh Grant. This movie, it was her show. Like this was her star-turning role, and I thought she was fantastic. And like her performance just made the scares so much more impactful because like you're rooting for her, like in the first movie, the Kevin Baker's daughter, what's her name, Sasori, something like that. Like Kevin Baker's daughter, like she's the main character and she does a great job too, but like she's not as vulnerable as Sky, as the character that Naomi Scott's playing. Like you just feel like this girl has no chance against this demon that's coming after her because she just doesn't have a support system, and she just portrays that so well, and just the fear in her eyes, and like just everything about it. It was good, and like that really elevated the movie for me. I think is just how good she was in it, and how impressed I was with her in it. I told you after I saw it, I thought she could win an Oscar for it, which it's a horror movie; those don't really happen that much. But that's how good I think she was in it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that she plays like the tortured singer and just being completely terrorized and just afraid and lost and all those emotions throughout the whole movie. She plays him so well. And I think this also has one of the best jump scares of recent memory.
Oh, geez,
when she's watching on her phone the video of the guy that she got the disease from, and he's like, just look in that corner. You see it? It's just sitting there smiling at me. And then all of a sudden he's standing in front of her and he just yells. And like you see her just like jump and fall back on the ground. And like I jumped in my seat, and then for like a solid like 20 seconds afterward, just had like goosebumps in my system.
I was kind of just there from you describing it because I remembered it.
Yeah, it was there. So there was a ton of those. I think one of the biggest things about why I think this is better than the first one, though, is that like, so it's the same writer and director, and I think he's just better this time.
Completely agree. He just knows what he's doing more now.
He knows what he's doing more. So with the first one, he was coming off just writing this as a short. He'd only made a short film, and that was his first film. And in this one, you can see so well how much he has improved as a filmmaker between the two movies.
Even like the opening scene is so well directed, and just like because like you have the character from the first movie, Kyle Gallner's character come back. And that's where we join the story is him trying to pass the demon on to these drug dealers, these bad people. And just like we meet him in the car, and then it goes to a transition shot of him going to the house where the drug dealers are, and there's like a shot of a flaming corpse in the corner that just is kind of like boom, like you don't really see it, but it's just, well, you see it obviously, but it's just the way it's framed is so good. I remember thinking that like, wow, this guy's got some new tricks when the movie started. I thought that was a good showcase for him right off the bat.
And wasn't a big portion of that scene like one shot?
Yeah.
There was that way to open it. I was just like, oh my god, this is way more tense than I expected the opening scene to be. Like honestly, I expected them to start the movie, and then 10 seconds later they kill Kyle Gallner, and then we're moving on and we're off to the races. And we spent a good good amount of minutes with him, 7 minutes with him or something, before they inevitably and just spoilers for everybody that we're gonna spoil Smiler too. They killed the hell out of him.
But the scene he was in was like, even like you said, 7-10 minutes, whatever he was on the screen for, he was great in it too, and like
he was,
and yeah, it gets you going, like that gets the movie set up, and it was a great opening scene, and I was on board. Completely.
The directing in that scene was very good. The music throughout the whole thing is so creepy. It's so much more creepy this time around. And there were some shots in it that like reminded me of The Shining. And I think this time the director got a chance to just be a little bit more creative with these things, because the first time he was probably just so focused on making it happen as a movie. And so
I'm sure he got a bigger budget.
There were so many shots. Yeah, probably. I mean, because he killed it with the first one. That movie made so much money. And I think this one was at number 1 when it debuted too. There was one shot that like, I don't know if you caught this, but there's like this transition in it where the elevator opens and you see like a street instead of the hallway, and then the camera pushes through into the street, and it's like a bird's eye view of the street, and then it comes down and starts going down the street, and that's how they transitioned between scenes.
That's pretty cool.
And I remember seeing it, and I was just like, that might be one of the best scene transitions that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know what you're talking about. That was a good scene too. You're talking about the jump scare with the guy in the YouTube video. I don't know if it was really a jump scare, but there was a scene in there where the same character, the opening linking victim, will say, this guy was just standing in front of a mirror, and all of a sudden, like, he's just in her reflection behind her in the mirror, and she's like trying to like move her head to like see him, and he keeps moving with her. And I went and saw my friend Holly, and she just she grabbed my arm and goes, no at that point. So yeah, there's a bunch of very effective scares in there, and going back to like what you were saying, like just it's framed so well, and like as completely agree. I was going to bring it up that it seemed like he's found his groove or is more confident now as a filmmaker, and yeah, it shows. It was it was fantastic. I'm gonna like buy the hell out of that when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
Laserdisc.
I was very happy with my decision to go see that one.
Yeah. And the opening, the character who gives Sky the demon, that guy does a good job too. But his death is so freaking brutal. It might be the most brutal thing I've seen in a while, just because it's so many times he has to, you know, to get it to stick, kind of. But
well, and on that note, once again, spoiler for the ending.
Oh yeah.
When she kills herself at the end,
yeah,
I liked that they chose not to show it.
Brilliant idea. Make you envision it in your head. You know, you're like, what's she doing? How could she?
Because I think that you've spent so much time with her over the course of this movie that it is enough that she has died that you don't need to see it, but you get to see everybody's face. And I just want to say, a couple episodes ago, I predicted this exact ending.
You did.
And when I was watching it, there was not a single moment where I thought that they weren't going to go for this ending. I was like, no, we this is where this movie needs to build to. There is no reason to make her a pop star if you're not going to kill her at her concert. Yeah. And so the whole movie, I'm processing everything that's happened or happening with the thought of like, this is what we're building to. And there was never a doubt in my mind that that's where we were building to. Like, even when, like, everything is happening with, like, the guy taking her, and they're like, oh, we'll just kill you and then bring you back to life. I'm just thinking, that's not going to work. Because if that worked, then we got to give her there. And then when, like, she killed her mom, I'm like, her mom's not dead. If she just murdered her mom, then she wouldn't be able to put on a concert. Like, her mom's not dead. None of it. And so, like, as all that's happening, I'm like, none of this is real. And so, lo and behold, like that's exactly what's going on. Is she's not really dead, and this all these things aren't really real. And I will say, so they did do that well. The whole thing where he's like, "This isn't real," but I think that it does set a dangerous precedent if they want to make another one of these, where like you've now taken the audience to a point where they can't trust anything that's on the screen. And so introducing that as a tool that this thing can use is pretty dangerous from a viewer's standpoint. So I don't know how they navigate that one in the future. You know?
And that's a common complaint I saw. I read a little bit of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes on my lunch break today, and a lot of people had that complaint that like, oh, the last half hour or whatever wasn't real and blah, 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 didn't mean anything. It's like, and that's a completely legit argument, but it also could be like that because like that character was just so emotionally broken to start with. She just had, like I said, she had no chance. So the thing just had its way with her.
Well, and that was the thing that I'd kind of realized partway into this too, is that like you do realize that you're like, there's no way she survives this.
She had no chance.
She doesn't stand a chance. Yeah.
No support system, but nothing.
Yeah. No, none of it. And so, you know, with that being said, I wanted to point that out. I hadn't read anything about it online. I just didn't get a chance to because I just saw it last night, less than 24 hours ago. But I didn't mind the way they did it.
Yeah.
The fact that he's like, hey, none of this is real. And like just the creepy way it said it. And then
I like being you. It's like, oh.
Yeah. And then transitions right into her being in the thing on her
stage.
The
egg opens up. You're like, oh, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as that started happening, I was like, this is it. We're here. We've arrived at the destination.
Yeah. And so, oh god, that's and then where do you go from there? Like they got to do a third one, right?
I was hoping so badly that they would. So once I mean, this is getting your cake and eating it too. But I was like, I want to see a montage in the credits of all these people dying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I give you that. Okay. Because theoretically.
But that is where they go. They have to, right? Start the next movie off with a montage of just like person after person after person. You know,
it could be like an apocalyptic event, like this thing infecting 40,000 people or whatever it was.
It certainly could be, and it could be the version. I mean, that's what they could potentially do is create this version where like now everybody knows about it. Everybody's figured out what it is. It's a real thing, and it's damn near brought about the apocalypse. And I would imagine that's where they take it. And it's almost like The Happening, but the version we should have done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Like that level where you're taking out whole countries.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. That's a good idea.
So that's what I think. Start the next movie off with a montage of just like death after death after death, and then jump into them. You've got people that have now realized
what's going on.
People are figuring it out. They're figuring out what's going on, and that this thing's real. And you've got groups fighting against it. So that's where I say.
And that would fit in with the whole like idea of this movie about like mental health and how it's people struggle with mental health, and it's like the monster you can't see, kind of, So, and then when people, like the way to beat it is to acknowledge it, kind of, So that would work with it.
Yeah.
This was very much like the pain behind the smile of like the pops. They use the pop star as the lens for it, but it's like the whole like just because the person's successful doesn't mean they're happy, kind of thing. And I think that was a big point of that movie, I think.
Remember that scene with her when she's at like the gala or whatever for like underprivileged children, and like she just completely melts down on stage.
Yeah, so good. She's so good in that scene.
Yeah, that was really good. The way they introduced Jack Nicholson's son.
Oh, I didn't know that was him until like weeks later.
Oh yeah, it is so. The way he like stands up is so off-putting. Like it's that whole scene. I mean, that's the thing. Honestly, I could watch this movie again right now. It is so many things in it are so well done that you just like that's it. It's definitely a good one.
Yeah, it's one I watched it as part of my 31 days. I just took one of the days to go watch it. Which, by the way, every October should have the horror movies coming out like that. Like that's when there should be at least one big one every year. But
yeah, I agree.
It was. I was impressed with it, and I went in with a high. What's the word here? High expectations, and it exceeded them. I thought it was great. You said it was better than the first one. I hadn't really thought of it in that way yet, but as sitting here talking to you about it, it probably is. It likely is, actually. I just need to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean the first one it does the heavy lifting and like establishing the lore and everything. But I just think this one executes on what the first one introduces much better. And like I said, the director is just he's better at it this time.
He's grown up a bit as a director.
Yeah.
And we even touch on some of like the big creepy like set pieces and stuff. Like there's a part where like a creepy fan that like kind of like creeps her out, and then later in the night she comes back to her hotel room and finds like the shirt the guy was wearing like laid on the floor, and it sets up this whole like just set up of the tension of like this guy's in her house, and it's so freaky. And then go ahead.
Yeah, and that's one of the scary parts about it is that like that is one of the scary parts is like you don't know, she doesn't know what's real and what's not, and you don't know. Like, so when that's introduced, you don't know if that's the monster or if it's this guy.
It could be that guy,
and it's terrifying either way.
Absolutely. And then with the background dancers when they're all in her hotel room,
that was shot so well.
It's insane. Like they're like the demons from Doctor Who. When if you look or like the ghosts from Mario, like if you look at them, they don't move, but when you look away, they come at you. Oh, that was the way they moved and everything. It was so freaky, so well done. But it was fantastic.
The monster at the end I liked better in this one.
Right. They didn't do the whole like 10-foot tall thing this time. They did like the final form monster from Smile makes an appearance, but not that 10-foot tall monster that looked like her mother, kind of, right?
Yeah. It was like a long red, like I don't even know. Like it was, but like when it's like standing on the stage, that was something.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I want to watch it again now too after talking about it with you. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's a good place to kind of wrap that one up.
One thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was watching my movies, I watched Red Eye as one of the movies.
Oh yeah.
Kyle Gardner's in that.
Yeah.
He's like one of the random like people on the plane, just as like a kid. It was like
Kyle Gallner is having a really, really good horror career.
He is.
I've heard great things about Strange Darling.
Yeah, I have to. I need to watch it. Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet either, but I've heard that a lot of people are saying it's the best horror movie of the year. But I feel like I hear that about every horror movie. So
it's been a good year for it.
It's got pretty it's got pretty universal praise. And I think I just saw the other day that like Scott Derrickson had posted on Threads that he was a massive fan of Strange Darling too. So I want to check that one out. But yeah, he was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. He was
not his fault.
The Walking Dead. What did you say?
Not his fault. The how that remake turned out.
Yeah. Well, and there's I haven't watched that movie in a very long time. It does a lot of things wrong, but there are some pretty cool kills and whatnot in it, and he's good in it. And isn't Rooney Mara? Isn't she the star of that? She's good.
Katie Cassidy's in it. For what that's worth.
I don't know who that is.
That's okay. She doesn't know who you are either.
Who is she?
David Cassidy, the guy who did the Partridge Family. That's his daughter.
Oh, David. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, come on. I was trying to think of something like she was in that you would have watched, but I know you didn't watch like Arrow or anything like that. So
I did watch.
She's in Arrow.
Who is she?
She's Laura Lance. There's like the main love interest.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I just didn't know her real name. I watched Arrow. I didn't watch all of Arrow because at a certain point
bad,
you're like,
or redundant. Okay, that's the word for it. It gets redundant at a certain point.
Yeah. Well, and you figured out the pattern by season 8, but they go for another like 3 seasons after that.
Classic.
Yep. But yeah, he's having a really good career, and I think he's coming into his own now. I hope that between this and Strange Darling, he gets some really good
leading man type roles, right?
Yeah, because I think he could. Yeah. I love him as he was really good as like a just desperate person in this one, but he looks really good as like an evil dude in Strange Darling. So
gotta watch it. Let's watch it when we go to Philly. We'll make a plan to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, is it on streaming yet?
Is it on Shudder? Or did I just dream that? I might just drop that. Okay.
If it was on Shudder, I would be watching it long before Philly.
Okay, well, we'll look into it.
I'd be watching it tonight.
You'll be watching it right now. You guys are watching while we're doing this.
Yeah, right. All right, so let's jump into the news section.
Yes, sir.
So, first thing I wanted to start with was that it was announced, I think today, that there's an Idle Hands remake.
I saw that.
With Finn Wolford and producer Jason Reitman is announced. And there was somebody else announced with it, but I didn't know who it was, so I didn't write it down. What do you think about that?
Interesting. This would be like Finn Wolfhard's like starring role, right? He hasn't really been like a main man in anything yet.
I would imagine
so. It's exciting. Idle Hands is very much of its time. I enjoy the hell out of it, but it's a late '90s stoner comedy slasher horror movie, but it could be really good. Like the whole idea of like evil left hand, and everything. And you said Jason Reitman, right?
Jason Reitman,
Ghostbusters guy, right?
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Right. Guy. Yes. I'm sorry. The newer ones. My apologies. So
he didn't direct the new.
He didn't. One. Okay. All right.
No, he produced it.
Okay.
Which
shows.
May mean something or may not. But he did direct Afterlife.
Okay. I really liked Afterlife. So
did you watch the new Ghostbusters?
I did. It's forgettable.
You know who directed that?
Go for it.
The same guy that directed the Poltergeist remake.
That checks out. That makes sense. Did he direct the fucking Point Break remake too?
The Point Break remake.
I can't believe it exists. I don't think anyone's ever seen it. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Of course.
It's not good. Nothing is good about it. They take everything that was good about the
and
first
just
one
flush it, right?
and don't do it.
But yeah, I'm excited to try.
And then,
Excited to watch that. Excited to see where they go with it. It could be a lot of fun. So it's a good concept, and it'd be nice to see what they do with the modern take on it.
I hope they go hard R.
Oh yeah, no PG-13 on that.
Like, yeah, like, and make it like a teen comedy. Like, because that's the other one had like it had stoner humor, but it also had and it had that 2000s humor. I'm sure there's like an unrated version of it out there somewhere. But it also had like over the top gore in it too.
Yeah,
you got to have both of those things.
You have to. But yeah, that's cool. That's good news. That's not news I expected. I didn't think that'd be something anyone would be pushing for. An Idle Hands remake. But I'm here for it.
Yeah. What else we got? So upcoming releases, November 22nd, we got Gladiator 2 coming out.
Oh yeah.
Pretty excited about that. I'm definitely going to go see that. That's like next week.
That is crazy, but yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go see that. It's been getting good reviews, so I'm pretty excited. I love the first Gladiator.
It's one of my favorite movies.
One of my favorite movies.
Same. And it's got Denzel in it. It feels like it's going to be epic. Nosferatu's coming. It's not far off from that.
Nosferatu, December 25th.
That's geez, that's close. don't like how close
that is. Getting
real close.
Unbelievable ratings. People are loving this. So.
We were talking about horror movies winning Oscars. Maybe that one actually pull it off.
Yeah, they've said that the guy that's directing it, Robert Eggers, he said that he's not going to release anything for what Bill Skarsgård's character Count Orlok looks like until after the release.
Fantastic. That makes me happy.
Yeah. So that's going to be a opening weekend movie.
Oh, absolutely. I want to see him before it gets spoiled all over the internet, like it is.
Yeah.
So did you hear about just a piece of news that I heard? I didn't know if you heard. Christopher Nolan's doing a 1920s vampire movie with
I did hear about that.
Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Yep, and Matt Damon.
Damn it.
Matt Damon.
So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to watching that.
That is exciting. I hope that is in fact what he's doing, because I know it hasn't been confirmed at this point. But I would watch the hell out of that. I would love to see Christopher Nolan go into the horror genre, because I think that it's not something you see very often where an established director like that chooses to do it. It's not unheard of, though. Martin Scorsese did it with Shutter Island. Andy did it with Cape Fear, both of which I love. Cape Fear's a remake, too. Oh, look at this little guy.
Lana. Hey, Lana. She's interested in her toy. So, yeah, that's exciting. You're right, though. Usually directors start with horror and then graduate to other stuff. So it's exciting to see someone who's already good at their craft just to go back to it. It's neat. It's cool.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm excited about that one. Look forward to hearing more about it. Werewolves, that Frank Grillo movie is coming out December 6th. You gonna watch
I'm gonna watch that. I like Frank Grillo. The whole idea.
I like Frank Grillo too.
It almost seems like a werewolf apocalypse type movie, which I've been saying for years we need more of. So.
You ever see The Purge Anarchy?
No.
That's the one with Frank Grillo.
I missed that one.
So it's funny because when I watched this trailer, I was like, "That looks like The Purge Anarchy." It's so weird. And then because it just gives me the Purge vibes, because that's kind of what it is. It's like, when this alarm goes off, instead of everybody going out and killing people, werewolves are going to be everywhere and they're going to kill people. And then there's Frank Grillo coming up,
like a chain,
saving the day.
You're right, actually, yeah.
And then the filmmakers released a thing that they're the vibe of this movie is The Purge Anarchy with werewolves. I was like,
well, that's what they're going for. They're going for it.
It's intentional. Yeah. So I'm gonna watch that movie, and I hope we get some good. It looks like we got CGI werewolves, but we're also getting to the point where that might not be a bad thing.
It's not
I do love my practical effects, but I think there's nothing wrong with
like good
CGI if it's done well. Yeah.
We don't like the cursed version of CGI werewolf.
No.
And by cursed I mean like the what's her name?
Wes Craven.
Yeah, that movie.
Yeah, I got you.
Not Katie Holmes. What's it? Christina Ricci. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then we got Wolfman coming January 17th.
Gosh, that's close too. I'm excited for that. You know I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Julia Gardner.
That was one that I remember you saying you wished had come out in October. Right. But hopefully them taking a little bit extra time with it helped iron out whatever
need to be ironed out.
Need to get ironed out.
Lee Winnell, right? That's directing the guy who did The Invisible Man and everything.
Yeah. Yep. He did The Invisible Man. I think he wrote Insidious with James Wan.
Awesome.
He's in Insidious. And he was heavily involved in the Saw universe, which I think people give the Saw universe a little bit more grief than it deserves. The first one is James Wan, and it's one of my favorite movies, horror movies.
Oh, yeah, and Lee Winnell plays the one guy, right?
Yeah, he plays one of the guys in it, but I think he also helped write those too.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to those. That's 2 werewolf movies, man. Come on.
2 werewolf movies. You know, I was thinking about this the other day that like werewolf movies have never really had their time. You know, like vampire movies or zombie movies where like you just like you can't avoid werewolf. We're like, you know, we've had our times where like you look and left and right, no matter where you look, there's a new zombie movie or TV show coming out. You know, and you got Walking Dead and, you know, whatever that Zack Snyder movie was and, you know, a ton of stuff like that. And, like, you know, you've had that with zombies. You've had it with vampires. Werewolves have never had that. There's never been an overabundance of werewolf content. You know, it would be awesome if we were entering that stage right now.
Because there was even that Kit Harington movie came out that our friend Sarah just watched. And she didn't give a glowing review of it, but it's werewolves and Kit Harington, so I got to catch it at some point.
Yeah. Well, you know, I would say watch Ginger Snaps before you watch
That's true. I need to watch that one. It's a black eye on my resume. I haven't watched that yet.
It is. You should watch that tonight, actually.
Maybe I will. I have it right there. I'm literally, it's literally right there. So I bought it because it was on sale on Amazon, I think, and just haven't got to it yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else you wanted to cover?
No, buddy. I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching the show. This has been our 20th episode. Please follow me on Instagram and Threads at Bark Night Podcast. Thank you very much.
See you.